I don't want your kind sitting here. The words cut through the first-class cabin like a knife. Everyone turns to look. Millionaire real estate investor Marcus Chen visibly pulls back when James Wilson, a black man in a hoodie and jeans, sits down next to him in first class. Marcus moves away, making a big show of creating space between them. "Excuse me?" Marcus calls to the flight attendant, speaking loud enough for everyone to hear. "I paid good money for this seat. I shouldn't have to sit next to someone who probably used credit card points to get here." The flight attendant's face turns red with embarrassment. "I'm so sorry, sir," she says to James, who just nods quietly. He doesn't argue. He just glances at his watch. A simple black timepiece that costs more than Marcus's entire designer outfit. What Marcus doesn't know is that the man he just insulted holds the key to the biggest deal of his life. Marcus, Chen walks through the airport like he owns the place. His expensive briefcase swings at his side as he talks loudly on his phone. "Tell the team I'm closing the Riverside medical deal today," he says. $50 million. This hospital group doesn't know what's coming. He stops at the first-class lounge bar. "It's a black-owned healthcare company," Marcus continues. "Nice little operation, but they don't know how to scale. We'll buy them out, take their best contracts, and sell off the rest. It's easy money." In a quiet corner of the same lounge, James Wilson sits in worn jeans and a comfortable hoodie. He's been visiting his sick mother and dressed for comfort, not business. His eyes focus on medical charts and financial reports on his tablet. He makes notes with careful precision. "Flight 847 to Chicago now boarding first-class passengers," the announcer says. Marcus ends his call quickly. "Gotta go. Have the contracts ready when I land. This deal closes today." He pushes past other passengers, showing his boarding pass like it's a trophy. James takes his time. He packs his tablet carefully and nods politely to the gate agents. "Always good to see you, Dr. Wilson," one whispers with a warm smile. Marcus settles into his first-class seat and immediately starts texting his team. "Make sure everything is perfect. These Riverside people need to understand who's in charge now." When James walks down the aisle toward his seat next to Marcus, the investor's reaction is instant. His eyes narrow. His jaw tightens. He pulls his expensive briefcase closer like he's protecting it from a thief. James notices but doesn't react. He calmly puts his small bag in the overhead bin and slides into his seat with quiet confidence. Marcus shifts dramatically toward the window, building an obvious wall between them. "Excuse me," James says softly as his elbow accidentally crosses into Marcus's space. Marcus doesn't even look at him. He just pulls further away, staring at his phone with exaggerated focus. As James opens his tablet, Marcus catches a glimpse of a confidential report on the screen. It's the exact same report his team prepared for today's meeting. "Where did you get that?" Marcus demands, pointing at James's tablet. "That's private information. My team made that report." James calmly closes his tablet without explaining anything. His face shows nothing. The lack of response makes Marcus even more suspicious. "I asked you a question," Marcus says, his voice getting louder. "That report is for the Riverside medical acquisition. It's confidential." Several passengers look over at them. James stays calm, hands folded in his lap. "I think you're mistaken, sir." Marcus's face turns red as he waves at a passing flight attendant. "Excuse me," he snaps. "I need to check this man's ticket. I don't think he belongs in first class." The flight attendant's smile disappears. "Sir, I can assure you—" "Just check it," Marcus insists. "There must be some mistake." "It's fine," James says quietly. "I understand." The attendant turns to James, embarrassment on her face. "I apologize, Dr. Wilson. We know you're a valued customer with us." Marcus's eyebrows shoot up. "Doctor, of what exactly?" "Look, these diversity programs are getting ridiculous. I earned my seat here." "I earned mine too," James says firmly. "Same as you." "Then you won't mind showing your boarding pass," Marcus challenges, holding out his hand. Without arguing, James hands over his pass. Marcus studies it carefully, looking for any excuse to complain. When he finds nothing wrong, he hands it back with obvious disappointment. "Well," Marcus says, "looks like everything's in order. First time in first class? The champagne is free, you know." I don't drink alcohol, James responds evenly. Marcus laughs meanly. Probably for the best. Not everyone can handle the good stuff. The plane starts moving as James turns slightly away, ending the conversation. Marcus's phone buzzes with a text. His face goes pale as he reads, "Big problem with Riverside deal. The owner refuses to sign without meeting you face-to-face first." Marcus's fingers grip the phone tight. "Impossible," he mutters. "That wasn't part of the agreement." The plane lifts into the sky as Marcus's perfect plan starts falling apart. 30 minutes into the flight, the drink service begins. Marcus spreads his papers across his tray table, deliberately taking up space that crosses into James's area. The flight attendant arrives with drinks. "Water, please," James requests. "Scotch." "The expensive kind, not the cheap stuff," Marcus demands without looking up. As the attendant places their drinks, Marcus reaches for a paper. His elbow hits his glass, knocking it directly into James's lap. Cold liquid soaks through James's jeans. "Oh," Marcus says, his voice completely flat. These seats are too cramped when they let everyone into first class. James dabs at his wet clothes with napkins from the apologetic flight attendant. "Don't worry about it," he tells her, though the cold is obviously uncomfortable. Marcus's phone rings. He answers it loudly, making no effort to be quiet. "Chen here. What's the situation?" James keeps cleaning himself as Marcus's conversation fills the space around them. "Listen, I don't care what their owner wants," Marcus says into the phone. "We're taking their patient contracts and their medical equipment leases. The rest is worthless," Marcus glances at James. "We'll break it apart and throw away what we don't need." James's attention lifts slightly when he hears the medical terms. That sounds like complicated work. James observes during a pause in Marcus's call. Medical contracts have a lot of legal requirements. Marcus ends his call and turns to James with obvious condescension. "Look, no offense, but this is complex business stuff. Medical acquisitions involve regulatory compliance and asset valuation. Probably doesn't make sense to you?" "Actually," James begins, "the distinction between Medicare and private insurance reimbursement rates?" "Like I said," Marcus interrupts, "it's complicated business stuff. I'm sure whatever you do is nice too. Maybe sports or music or something." A passenger across the aisle catches James's eye, offering silent support. James slightly shakes his head. He's handling this. Marcus's phone buzzes again. "What now?" He snaps into the phone. His face tightens as he listens. "What do you mean the owner insists on meeting me?" he says loudly. "I am the investor." He listens, getting visibly angry. "Delay the meeting if you have to. I'll be there in 2 hours. He hangs up, complaining loudly about impossible demands and entitled small business owners. James watches Marcus's growing stress with calm detachment. When Marcus gets up to use the bathroom, James pulls out his phone and types a quick message. "Change of plans. I'll be evaluating Chen personally before any signatures." He sends the text and puts his phone away just as Marcus returns, still angry about the delayed meeting. Behind his calm face, James has already started destroying Marcus's perfect deal. James stands up calmly. "Excuse me." Marcus barely looks at him, still focused on fixing problems on his phone. Inside the airplane bathroom, James's whole attitude changes. He pulls out his phone, turns on the privacy screen, and calls a secure number. His posture straightens. Authority radiates from him like a physical force. "Sarah, it's me," he speaks quietly but firmly. "Dr. Wilson," a woman's voice responds. "Are you sure?" "The board expects signatures today. We've been working on this for months. I've been sitting next to Marcus Chen for the past hour," James explains. "His character concerns me. I need to see him in person before we move forward." "Sir, this is a $50 million deal. The shareholders want an ethical partner," James interrupts. "Delay the signing. Tell them I'm doing final checks." "What should I tell the team?" "They're all waiting." James's reflection in the mirror shows determination in his eyes. "Tell them Riverside Medical will only work with people who share our values. I built this company to help people, not to sell out. Meanwhile, Marcus sees his chance with James gone. He casually looks around, then reaches toward James's seat pocket. His fingers pull out a leather notebook, flipping through pages filled with medical notes and diagrams. Finding nothing immediately useful, Marcus checks James's bag. Inside, he finds a business card and a book about healthcare management. Dr. James Wilson, MD, MBA, with the Riverside Medical logo clearly displayed. Wilson? Marcus mutters, not connecting the dots. He quickly puts everything back as he hears footsteps. James returns and immediately notices his things are slightly moved. His face stays neutral, but his eyes register the invasion. He says nothing, simply sitting back down with dignity. Marcus's phone chimes with another message. His face shows increasing worry as he reads, Riverside Medical owner suddenly reluctant to sign. Says he needs to personally assess all investors. Meeting delayed indefinitely. Marcus curses under his breath. He turns to a passenger across the aisle. This is what happens when small companies get too successful, he complains loud enough for James to hear. Some people don't know their place. James hears the comment but doesn't react. Internally, he makes his final decision. His company, his life's work, will never fall into this man's hands. End of part 1. Will Marcus discover who James really is before it's too late? What happens when they finally reach Chicago? Find out in part 2.